The snow was falling heavier than ever. An old woman, frail yet fearless, trudged through the blizzard with trembling hands. Her worn shawl flapped against the freezing wind, but her eyes, they still carried warmth. She could barely see through the curtain of white, yet something deep inside told her to keep walking. Then, through the storm's roar, she heard it, a faint cry. One meow, one whimper. Two tiny souls lost in the cold, a kitten and a puppy, shivering, soaked, buried beneath layers of snow. Everyone else had shut their doors, hiding from the cold, but she opened hers. What followed next was a miracle that melted even the harshest winter, a story of compassion, courage, and love that knows no age, because sometimes it's not strength that saves a life, it's kindness. The night howled with frozen breath, painting the town white and silent, windows shut tight, hearts locked behind flickering fires of safety. But far beyond those warm walls, life still struggled to breathe. A lone woman, wrapped in a tattered shawl, braved the storm's rage. Her name was Evelyn, 80 years old, yet stronger than the wind. Her boots sank deep into snow, her cane trembling with each step. She wasn't looking for anything, just listening to her memories. Every gust whispered voices of her late husband, her lost son. The storm didn't scare her. Loneliness did. And then, through the roar, a faint cry pierced the white silence, a sound so fragile. It barely touched her ears, yet it struck her soul. She stopped, breath steaming, eyes scanning the endless white. There it was again, a tiny meow, followed by a weak whimper, two cries, two lives, pleading beneath the storm's cruel hands. Evelyn's heart clenched. No creature should die unseen, unheard. She turned toward the sound, pushing against the storm's claws. Her cane slipped, her knees shook, yet her spirit stayed unbroken. Snowflakes kissed her eyelashes, melting into tears of purpose. She followed the cries, each step heavier, but her will sharper. She whispered, "Hold on, little ones. Grandma's coming." The world was white, but her heart burned red with love. In that endless snow, she became a beacon for the forgotten, for where others saw danger, Evelyn saw destiny calling, and that call would soon change 3 lives forever. The wind screamed louder, but Evelyn's ears caught every soft plea. She knelt down, brushing snow with trembling, aching hands. A small paw emerged, cold, stiff, yet still clinging to life. Beside it, a whimper, a puppy, barely breathing under ice. 2 orphans of the storm, bound by fear and frozen tears. Evelyn gasped, her voice breaking. "Oh, my poor darlings!" She lifted them gently, tucking both against her warm chest. Their fur was soaked, their bodies shivered in perfect unison. She could feel their tiny hearts, weak but still beating hope. Snowflakes landed on their heads like fragile halos of survival. Evelyn wrapped her shawl tighter, turning back toward her home. Each step was a battle. The snow clung. The wind pushed back, but her arms held miracles, and miracles don't let go. She whispered lullabies from long-gone nights of motherhood. Her breath fogged in rhythm with the kitten's soft trembling. The puppy's paw twitched, a sign of life. A whisper of courage. The storm tried to swallow them, but love screamed louder. Her cottage light flickered faintly in the distance, a promise. She pressed on, whispering, "Almost there, babies." Almost. Every second stretched eternity, yet she never slowed. Behind her, the snow erased her footprints. but not her deed. For kindness leaves no mark on earth. Only in hearts that see, and in that frozen white world, Evelyn carried warmth home. 3 souls, one fragile flame of life against a raging winter. The door creaked open with a gust of snow and breathless relief. Evelyn stumbled inside, her old house glowing dim with candlelight. She laid the kitten and puppy by the fire, their fur stiff with frost. The warmth slowly began to dance across their tiny bodies. She rubbed them gently with a wool blanket, whispering prayers. "Come on now. You're safe, you're safe." Her voice cracked softly. The kitten meowed faintly, a sound like a bell of hope. The puppy sneezed once, then twice. The sweetest sound on earth. Evelyn smiled through tears, her heart thawing with the room. She set a bowl of warm milk and a little broth on the floor. The smell filled the air. Comfort, love, and second chances. She lit another candle, watching shadows play across their faces. "God sent you to me," she whispered, "so I'd never be alone again." The storm still raged outside, but it no longer frightened her. Because inside these 4 walls, a miracle had already happened. 2 lives saved, and 1 lonely heart reborn in their warmth. The clock ticked gently, matching the beat of their recovering hearts. Evelyn closed her eyes, resting beside the fire's soft crackle. The kitten curled beside her palm, the puppy near her feet. 3 breaths in sync. 3 stories now written together. Outside, the snow fell softer, as if heaven smiled upon her. Sometimes warmth isn't found in blankets, but in hearts that give. And that night, Evelyn's home became a temple of mercy, where loneliness died and love began again. Sunlight broke through frost-covered windows like golden forgiveness. The blizzard had passed, leaving silence heavy with peace. Evelyn awoke to gentle licks on her fingers, life greeting her. The kitten purred on her chest. The puppy wagged its tiny tail, her eyes filled with tears, gratitude wrapped in pure disbelief. "Good morning, my little fighters," she whispered tenderly. She brewed tea, poured milk, and laughed softly at their play. The puppy stumbled across the floor. Chasing invisible dreams, the kitten pounced, missing, then meowed as if to scold him. For the first time in years, Evelyn's house echoed with laughter. The emptiness was gone, replaced by fur, warmth, and motion. She named the puppy Scout, brave as the storm itself, and the kitten she called Willow, delicate yet unbreakable. They followed her everywhere, shadows of joy at her feet. Each bark, each meow, healed the scars silence had carved. Neighbors peeked from windows, wondering about her smile. They hadn't seen her this alive in a decade, maybe more. Evelyn's heart was no longer cold. It pulsed with purpose. Every heartbeat whispered, "You still matter. You still can love." The storm had taken her peace but returned her family. Sometimes the harshest nights bring the brightest mornings. She poured their bowls, humming a tune of long-forgotten days. And for the first time, she wasn't just surviving, she was living. Word spread quickly through the snowy little town. Evelyn saved 2 helpless souls from the storm. They whispered. Children came by her fence, peeking at Scout and Willow's games. Laughter and paw prints decorated her yard like living confetti. People began leaving gifts. Food, blankets, little knitted hats. The woman who once lived alone now had visitors daily. Her heart swelled with each knock, each smile, each thank you. The mayor even stopped by, his eyes moist with admiration. "Not everyone would have done what you did," he told her gently. Evelyn smiled, stroking the kitten sleeping in her lap. "Kindness isn't a choice," she said softly. "It's who we are inside." The village changed, all more hands reached out to feed strays. Children learned that heroes can have wrinkles and canes. Love spread faster than any storm could ever travel. The local paper wrote, "Old Angel saves 2 lives in blizzard." Evelyn laughed at the headline, though tears shimmered behind it, for she hadn't saved them. Alone, they'd saved her too. The sound of purring and tiny barks now filled her silent home, and every sunset painted her window with colors of gratitude. Scout lay at her feet, Willow on her shoulder, both content. The world outside might grow cold again, but not her heart. Because one act of love had rekindled a whole village's spirit, and Evelyn, the forgotten woman, became their living reminder. That compassion is the warmest fire on earth. Winter slowly faded, but Evelyn's love only grew stronger. Scout had grown into a loyal guardian, always by her chair. Willow danced on windowsills, chasing every ray of morning sun. Her cottage now felt alive, full of laughter, fur, and faith. Neighbors often brought treats, just to see the trio together. Grandma Evelyn, the children called her, giggling with joy. Her wrinkled hands told stories of kindness in every gesture. She read aloud to them, tales of courage, hope, and grace. Her voice trembled, but her heart sang through every word. Scout lay near the fire, Willow curled beneath her shawl. The village began to change, smiles replaced isolation. People who once walked past strays now bent to feed. The Evelyn's act had melted more than just snow. It melted hearts. She often said, "Love is not a season, it's a choice we repeat." Her life, once silent, now echoed with meaning beyond measure. When the next snowfall came, she wasn't afraid anymore. She opened her door wide, whispering, "You're welcome here." The storm could come again, but she was no longer alone, because love had made her immortal in her village's eyes. And every bark, every purr, was a hymn of gratitude sung to her. For some angels don't have wings. They have shawls and canes. And Evelyn was one of them, walking softly through life's storms. The woman who once shivered in silence now glowed with purpose. Love had rewritten her ending into a beginning that never fades, to a beginning that never fades. Time, as always, kept its quiet promise to move forward. Evelyn's steps grew slower, her hair now silver as frost. But Scout and Willow never left her side, not even once. They followed her like shadows of loyalty, pure and constant. Each morning she whispered, "You gave me life again." Her laughter filled rooms even as her body grew weaker. The doctor would visit, smile and say, "You're our miracle," she'd reply softly, "No, they are," and glance at her companions. Winter returned, gentle this time, like a familiar friend. Evelyn sat by the fire, hands resting on soft fur and faith. Outside, snowflakes drifted slowly, peaceful and forgiving. She looked at the window and smiled, whispering prayers of thanks. Scout raised his head, sensing something in her quiet tone. Willow nuzzled closer, purring a goodbye only love could hear. And as the clock chimed midnight, her breathing slowed softly, her final words, "Take care of each other." Melted into silence, morning found her still, wrapped in her shawl, peace on her face. Scout lay beside her hand, willow curled upon her heart. The villagers wept, not for her death, but her beautiful life. They buried her beneath the old oak where spring always blooms, and on her grave 2 small paw prints appeared after every snow, as if heaven allowed her love to walk the earth again, because goodbyes are never final when hearts stay warm, and Evelyn's story was far from over. Years passed, but her cottage never felt empty again. Villagers cared for Scout and Willow as their own children. Children grew up hearing stories of the angel of the snow. Every winter, candles glowed by her door, soft and golden. People brought food, blankets, and hope to those in need. Her kindness had become the heartbeat of the entire town. No storm could ever take that warmth away again. Scout grew old, but still guarded her doorstep faithfully. Willow's kittens played in the same yard. Evelyn once tended, generations came and went, but the story lived on. Schools taught her tale as a lesson in compassion. Artists painted her face, gentle, wrinkled, smiling with love. And each Christmas Eve, the church bell rang for her soul. They called it Evelyn's Hour, a moment of silent gratitude. No one spoke, yet every heart whispered her name inside, because the woman who saved 2 lives had saved hundreds more. Her spirit became snow, soft, pure, and endless in giving. Children said they sometimes saw her in winter's white fog, a gentle figure walking with a cat and a dog beside her. And every time it snowed, they smiled and said, "She's watching." Love like hers doesn't vanish. It transforms and stays. Her cottage became a shelter, named Evelyn's Haven, and in that haven, no one ever faced the storm alone again. What began with one woman's choice became a movement of care. Villagers built feeding stations for stray animals in every street. Children volunteered, learning love's truest language early on. Old men told stories of Evelyn's courage beside winter fires. Even travelers from afar came to see the snow angel's home. Her photograph hung inside, smiling, with Scout and Willow. Each visitor left with tears, and something softer inside. The mayor declared her birthday Kindness Day every year. People gave, helped, and healed in memory of her grace. The once cold town had become a cradle of compassion. They understood now. Love is the only warmth that lasts. The story traveled beyond borders, shared in papers and films. Her act of mercy inspired shelters, adoptions, and donations. From one storm came thousands of hearts ready to shelter others. And as the world changed, Evelyn's name never faded, because the truest legacy isn't written in books, but in deeds. Her love had become a fire no frost could extinguish, and her memory still whispered through every falling flake. Save one life, and you save your own. That was the lesson she left behind in quiet grace. The cat's descendants, the dog's lineage, still lived there. Proof that love multiplies, never disappears. Her cottage lights never went out again, not even in storms, and every glowing window carried her heart's reflection. One late winter night, many years later, a storm returned. A traveller, lost and cold, stumbled upon a glowing cottage. He saw paw prints leading toward the door, small and fresh. Inside, a woman's soft voice whispered, "Come in, dear." But when he entered, the room was empty. Only warmth remained. The fire crackled, a blanket lay folded, and milk was warm. A photograph of Evelyn watched from the mantel, smiling kindly. Outside, the storm slowed. Silence fell like a sacred song. The man slept there safely and woke to sunlight and calm. He told villagers, "Someone saved me in that old woman's home." They smiled knowingly, tears shimmering in the cold light. "She never really left," one said. "She just became the storm's peace," the traveller bowed, feeling warmth linger on his coat. Some miracles are not seen. They're felt deep inside the soul. That night, he stayed to help feed strays with the village children. He said, "Now I understand, kindness is the only way home." The snow kept falling softly, as if blessing every act of love. And in the white silence, two faint shadows ran side by side, a small cat, a faithful dog, and a woman walking just behind. Her shawl fluttered like wings, her smile timeless as the sky. The miracle continued, eternal as the winter itself. Because true love doesn't end. It echoes forever in heart. And somewhere, Evelyn's laughter still dances through the snow. Kindness costs nothing, yet it builds worlds no money can buy. Even one act of love can outlive generations. Age, weakness and cold cannot defeat a warm heart. Those who help others never truly grow old. Evelyn's courage showed that compassion is stronger than storms. The smallest life saved becomes a miracle, remembered forever. When you give love, you light fires in hearts unseen. True heroes wear wrinkles, not capes. Every winter holds a chance to be someone's warmth. Storm is too strong for hands that choose to care. Not saving others often saves ourselves in ways we never expect. Love is not about grand gestures. It's quiet, persistence. The world heals each time a kind soul refuses to look away. Evelyn's story reminds us that mercy never melts. It multiplies. Be someone's warmth today, and you'll never fear the cold again. And you'll never fear the cold again.